How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Good. Coming off last week's game, pretty happy. I thought we improved, which was really important for us as a team. You know, we talked about we had a better week of practice last week than we had the week before, and it showed on the field because I think we played better than we had the week before. You know, and there's still a lot of little areas we need to improve at. You know, and hopefully we can do that this week at practice and then have it translate into our performance on Saturday. Going to have our hands full. Obviously, M10 playing on the road in the Southeastern Conference. Really tough to do. Going to be a very hostile environment against an extremely talented football team. You know, another top 25 team that we have to play. And you know, you look at all the different talent they have all over the field. You know, getting back and playing at home where it's a, you know, they have a great home record with Gus, and so you know, we're really going to have our hands full with this group. We're going to have to play at a high level. So anytime you go on the road, you have to do that.
Questions? Get a mic, team. Everybody's typing.
Obviously, we talked about having somewhat of a young team. Can you take anything from the Southern Miss trip, or is an SEC road game different for the younger players?
Well, I think you know, I think you can take some things from it, and there should be a little different. Obviously, we're getting on a bus, we're traveling, we have a night game on the road. You're going to be in a hostile environment. The great thing when we played down in Southern Miss, I mean, it was a sold-out stadium, and you know, in a tough road environment. And I think our guys handled that scene very well. Obviously, it's going to be a lot different at Auburn. You're going to talk about twice, maybe more than twice the size, louder, more difficult, all of those things. But I do think some of our young players can have, take a little bit of confidence in that they've already played a road game and played it in a sold-out stadium against a tough team.
Coach, with the success that Dontavian Lee and Eris Williams had on Saturday, do you anticipate them earning some more reps this weekend?
We'll see how practice goes this week. I thought they both played fairly well on Saturday. Excuse me, both graded out as champions for us. So we'll see. You know, I mean, with that, I think, you know, we knew coming into the season we had a talented backfield. You know, and I had always said from the beginning, you know, unless someone just goes out and flat separates themselves from everybody else, I think you're going to see all of them play. And if they continue to progress, continue to practice well, I think that we're going to see that. Not that I just think all of them are playing. All four backs are playing pretty well, and so it allows us to put them in the game.
Auburn game obviously is usually one of the first SEC games. It seems that whoever kind of wins that game between you and Auburn, it seems to kind of propel their season. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's such an important game?
Well, I think the last couple of years it's been the first SEC game, so I think that always when it's I think the first game can really mean a lot and really help propel you one way or the other. But I think for both of us this year, you know, both of us are coming off a loss in conference. You know, and you don't want to fall that far behind. So we both, you know, in conference play are kind of, you know, back against the wall. Got to come out fighting, ready to play.
I think in the last 4 quarters that Jack has played, it's over a 70% completion rate, nearly 500 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. What clicked, I guess, from that second half in LSU through the first half against Northwestern State?
I don't know. I just think, you know, I think part of it is not just him really, it's the offense. I think the offense for the most part was clicking on Saturday, but I thought we did in the second half, and I think, you know, he does a great job of taking advantage of that, you know, of making sure he's playing within the system, but it's not a one-man show out there. You know, we need everybody executing at a high level. And when that happens, he's got the talent to make the throws to get the ball to people. He has the experience to handle the situation and how we have to move the offense. You know, and the intelligence of knowing where to go with the football. And you know, so as you're rolling offensively, and it opens up kind of more options for us, he's going to make sure we're taking advantage of the best option out there on the field.
You played well at Auburn the last 2 times that you've been there, but is there any one thing or any couple of things that you can point to that, you know, why you're not having success there?
It's hard to win in the SEC on the road. to be honest with you, I don't know, I mean, almost everybody wins most of their home games. You know, we win most of our home games, so I think it's just hard to win road games in this league, and you gotta play really, really well if you're gonna do that.
What different problems does Jeremy Johnson present compared to Nick Marshall?
Well, I think, you know, he's a bigger guy, you know, you know, can stand in the pocket a little bit more throwing the football. You know, because of his size, Nick moved around a lot, you know, a lot of throws on the run, play action, movement throws, where Jeremy's more of a guy that has that size that can stand in the pocket. And he has the athleticism to beat you, but he also has the size to be able to be a pocket passer as well.
Coach, you and Coach Diaz both played against Auburn last year. I mean, will there be some different wrinkles, I guess you could say, this year?
Yeah, you know, I mean, we're a different team, they're a different team, in a whole different season, but I think, you know, I mean, I've played against them a lot. He got to play against them last year, got to play against them when he was here. And, you know, so I think just that experience, there's a familiarity and a comfort with playing that opponent, I guess. I mean, comfort's not the word. I mean, familiarity is really the word. You know what to expect, what you're getting. And, you know, I mean, we've got to put a plan together, and that puts our guys in a position to win. And I think we're going to do that.
I know you said Saturday that keeping Kendrick out was kind of precautionary. Is he on track to play on
Absolutely,
Saturday?
yeah. We might keep the cast on him another day today. But he's cleared to practice, just how we want to utilize him, you know, practice. Our question, you know, we had a lot of discussions on whether he was going to practice 4 days this week or 3 days this week, and how we want to do that. But he'll be playing on Saturday.
Steve asked you about the younger running backs, and Auburn's kind of been gassed by the run this year on the defensive side. So how much a big point of emphasis is that for the offense kind of get the running game?
Well, that's huge, but they're also, I'm sure, putting a big point of emphasis on them. You know, and they played. You know, you look at last week's game, and statistics early in the season can be a little deceiving, I think, at times, because, you know, played an LSU team. LSU doesn't really even try to throw the ball. You know, so they're just going to run it. So statistically, it's going to sway more towards the run game than the pass game when you play them, when you just look at those numbers. But so I don't know what that is. We're going to have to be balanced. We're going to have to make plays and attack, because they get a lot of talented players on that defense. You know, they're one of the best defensive tackles in the league. In Adams, they got two of the best linebackers in the league. You know, I mean, they got, you know, they have a lot of talent in that front seven.
I know you said you handle every quarterback situation differently, but after Nick and Elijah both got some reps, will you maybe force feed them more going forward to get them in SEC game situations? Or
we'll see how it goes in the week of practice. You know, I was really pleased what I saw from both those guys. You know, they got put in a game, and both of them handled the situation well. I mean, I know one of the things you want to be pleased with. Boy, look at the throws they make, making these touchdown passes. To me, it's just more their first play, how they handled the snap, how they handled the cadence, you know, just that stuff of getting experience of being out there on the field. So I mean, obviously, I'd love to get them in games, but a lot's going to depend on situations, where we're at, and what our gut feel is going into the game.
Hunter Bradley's had some injuries since he's gotten here, but talk about how he's persevered through all that and kind of getting his chance now.
Yeah, he's, you know, I mean, one of the things he's always done, he did a great job. I think, you know, we had him coming in, and he was a guy who was going to snap and play tight end for us, and got some injuries playing tight ends. We said, let's just worry about snapping, and he shows up every day, you know, to work hard, to improve, and do what he needs to do. And he's gotten experience in the past, playing some in the past, and now his number's called to be the starter. And you know, I didn't bat an eye, jumped in ready to go and take that responsibility. You saw that even during the LSU game. I mean, his number was called, and we didn't miss a beat.
moved Eldon Jenkins into the tackle role a little bit early on. What did you see from him in that game?
I thought he did a decent job. He's got a ways to go. I was glad to give him experience. You know, it's one of those things, like I said, that these young guys that we got to get in, and you saw us force-feeding guys onto the field the other day. And you know, I think we're going to try to continue to force-feed guys onto the field, because these guys got to get experience, got to get ready to play. And so we, you know, but he's one of those guys. We've got to get ready to play. He's got to get experience out there on the field, and I thought he did a good job. You know, he's he's got talent. We just got to, he's got potential, I should say. We just got to get that, him up to level to perform to where we think his potential should be at right now.
After going back and reviewing the film, just what did you see from Elijah and Nick in their first extended plays?
Just calmness on the field. That's what was most impressive to me. They both graded out as champions, even though they didn't get a lot of reps within the game. We didn't have tons of offensive plays. But to me, just their confidence in doing what they're supposed to do. They didn't go out there in the field and try to do too much or try to impress. They went on the field and played quarterback and, tried to manage the game and, make throws that were there to be made, make the right reads, get us in the right plays, and execute at a high level.
Coach, after having a game like last weekend compared to LSU, is it easier to get the guys back to work after a big win like this, or are they more willing to get back to work after a loss?
I think our guys show up ready. Our guys show up ready to work hard every day. That's just kind of part of our program. I think that's what's instilled in them. That's what we talk about in recruiting. That's what we talk about in our off-season program. And every day, you got to show up willing to work hard, be the best you can be every single day. And so I think they show up that way. It's obviously just a lot more fun after a win. As I said, after the LSU game, if you change one play and we win that game, we still have a lot of problems. We just feel better about it. We still have a lot of problems today. We just feel better about them after a win. And so we got to get a lot of those issues and problems fixed.
Has last year's game been talked about at all? Just the magnitude of the win and how much it meant to the program?
No, and that probably won't be to me. Because this year's game will mean a lot to our program too. And, we were a different team last year. They were a different team last year. We played under very different circumstances last year. But anytime we're playing an SEC game, I think it's huge. And last year's game really doesn't play in a lot to this year's game.
You've had a lot of talent in the offensive line. Go to the NFL from Gabe Jackson, Dylan Day, and Blaine Caussell, both on spots on practice rosters. I guess who is the next guy? Is there a guy that you see that has NFL talent on that line, whether they're playing now or not?
Well, I think it depends how they continue to develop. The one thing about all those guys you said is they worked and they developed throughout their 5-year careers here. They all redshirted. They all came in and showed up every day to give you everything they had. And if guys are doing that, I think we had a bunch of guys that have that opportunity or that potential to go do that. But you better show up every single day and continue to develop if that's going to happen for you. And I think with a lot of our younger guys, they're learning all that right now. That's a process to learn because they don't see the sense of urgency possibly that older guys see when they say, hey, our career's coming in. And they got to understand if you don't have that sense of urgency every day, you're not going to make it to that next level.
Kind of jumping off the sense of urgency, how important is it to avoid that 0-2 start in the league?
Huge. Every game is so huge in this league, and that's what makes it tough. Almost every game you play is against a top 25 team, and every game is critical to your season. So, you don't got a lot of really not many layup games in the Southeastern Conference. And so, you got to show up every single game and play your butt off.